So today we've just got a bunch of decks that we're going to hop through one at a time. Just get back into the swing of things, see what it's like playing in front of people again without being able to edit out anything that I don't like. This is you're gonna get the real raw airball experience here. And today we are playing one of the blue-white control decks that was in the recent set championship. So this is a historic build. Obviously, we've got Yorion as the companion. You don't see that too often these days. Yorion, the heyday of Yorion has kind of come and gone now that the Inquisitor Captain is gone or it's nerfed in historic. But he's back, and it turns out that there are some interesting synergies here. This has been a tricky deck to play when I've messed around with it offline. There are obviously some of the normal blue-white components that we're used to seeing, right? We've got our counter spells, we've got Omen of the Sea, which is the 2-mana enchantment that scries 2 and draws. Flickering this with Yorion is obviously pretty busted. We've got the Wandering Emperor, which plays pretty well with Yorion as well. So the static ability of the Wandering Emperor, where you can cast her abilities with flash essentially whenever she enters play, you can blink her with Yorion and get 2 activations in a turn. And she's also just a pretty good fair magic card in the meta right now, I think. But there are some pretty weird non-bow almost synergies that I've had a tough time keeping track of. So, like, obviously, Historic is very graveyard dominated right now. You can see we're giving it a lot of respect with 1 copy of Soul Guide Lantern, 2 copies of Rest in Peace in the main, and 2 copies of Farewell to exile all graveyards as well. But even though we're playing a bunch of anti-graveyard stuff, that doesn't stop us from playing 3 copies of Memory Deluge, which is pretty weird. Memory Deluge, turns out you're mostly okay with just casting this as like a Chemister's Insight on turn 4 or at some point, and you don't necessarily need to get the flashback value out of the graveyard. So that's one of the potential non-bows in the deck. Also, Portable Hole with Farewell. Also, Farewell, more broadly speaking, with Omen of the Sea and Portable Hole. Not the best combo in the world either, so often you need to make a decision to give back your opponent something that you exiled early in the game with Portable Hole. So it's a deck that really does want to just survive the early turns and is okay with sacrificing a bit of value later in the game, in the form of, like, lost flashbacks of Memory Deluge, handing back like a 1/1 Dragon's Rage channeler kind of thing once you've dealt with their graveyard. So I think it's a trickier deck to play than it looks. But again, it's a blue-white control deck in Historic. You don't need to twist my arm to play it. In the sideboard, you can see we have a whole lot of anti-control tech, right? Almost the entire sideboard here is dedicated to the control matchup. We have 4 copies of Malevolent Hermit, which you don't see a whole lot in Historic these days. 4 copies seems extreme. Especially, again, when we're running our own Graveyard Hate as well. So you don't often get the benefit of the Benevolent Geist backside of Malevolent Hermit. But it can be nice having a counterspell that isn't a spell. So that's important. We have the rest of the playset of Mystical Dispute, 2 more copies of Dovin's Veto, so just really heavy on the counter magic. And Rest in Peace as well to deal with the Graveyard synergies. And 1 copy of Nezahal. I'm not sure if I mentioned that already or not. Nezahal, pretty important one of... You used to see Hullbreaker Horror in this spot, but obviously with Historic being taken over by the Alchemy cards, Nezahal sort of trumps that because the Hullbreaker Horror is not is now counterable in Historic, whereas Nezahal is not. So you have to tap out on your turn for this, but it represents a ton of card advantage if your opponent can't deal with it right away. Okay, 2 copies of Baneslayer Ranger for the creature matchups, and the rest is pretty standard blue-white control. So let's get off to the races and see how the deck does. We are on the play with a reasonable opening hand. We have turn 2 Rest in Peace, where that's good. It's really good. Fateful Absence helps us deal with the Planeswalkers, even if it's not the best removal spell in the world. Wandering Emperor is a decent thing to work towards. We'll keep this. I think probably we're hoping to deal with creatures here. We do see a mulligan to 5 out of the opponent, which makes me suspect some kind of auras list, which I think Fateful Absence could make quick work of. So if they mulligan to 5 and have 1 creature and we kill it immediately, then we could be in pretty good shape. But also sometimes those aura decks just mull to 5 and run you over. Haunted Ridge tapped. Go. Okay. So the excuse me, the Rakdos decks in Historic right now are probably Dreadhorde Arcanist kind of things. It's possible they didn't have the Black Source on turn 1 to Thoughtseize, so I am interested in just getting Rest in Peace in play so they can't take it away, which will cripple their Arcanists for the rest of the game, cripple their Dragon's Rage Channelers for the rest of the game, and they probably don't have an answer in the main deck to it. Yeah, so there's like their Thoughtseize effect that we're trying to play around. I suspect they take... I don't know, what do you take here? Like, Wanderer, probably, even though it's something that we were pretty far away from casting at this point. I don't know. We'll get some insight here. It's possible that they have 2 discard spells as well. They took Fateful Absence. Okay. So again, we're... Interesting. Jund. Okay, so it's like some sort of... Probably like Jund Sacrifice, Mayhem Devil kind of thing. March of Otherworldly Light is a pretty good one to draw that they off the top that they don't know about. We want to hit our... land drop here. We're going to cycle the Shark for 0. And we're going to miss. Okay. Not great. But again, the Jund deck relies pretty heavily on their graveyard. Painful Bond. That's a pretty... Yeah, that's one of the new Alchemy cards, right? I haven't seen this one yet. Draw 2, and then they basically lose 1 spell. 1 damage, 1 life whenever they cast one particular spell in their hand. So generally... Buying Yorion on turn 3 is not a terrible move. I don't know what we fear on turn 4 out of the opponent. We could see like Sorin. I guess Chandra is not out of the question. I'm not exactly sure what we're up against here. Yorion in hand, I don't think is better than just casting Archmage's Charm for card draw on their end step. So I think we'll just do this. Hold up Archmage's Charm, and I have no problem just trying to hit my land drops with it on their end step if we don't face a must counter threat. Bonecrusher Giant is a weird one. I think I'm kind of inclined to just take the 2 here. If that's the best they've got. Scavenging Ooze with no graveyard is not a particular concern of mine. I'm just going to take that, I think. Wrath of God will deal with these threats well enough, I think. We just want to hit our land drops. Soul Guide Lantern. So we have found our graveyard hate. Yeah, I think we want to... There is some chance that we get to cast Destroyer Disruption, and also I want to have the ability to cast Wandering Emperor if they don't force me into anything. We're going to play this on blue. Archmage's Charm is a real thing. And we're just going to say go, I think. We could buy Yorion with the intention of flickering the Wandering Emperor later. That's not so bad, but we can protect the Wandering Emperor with the Wrath of God as well. Hey, okay. Sorry. Still getting over a bit of a cold. How are you doing? That is a lot of emotes you've got over there. So, like, one assumes that they're going to slam Bonecrusher Giant here. Undercity Plunder. Target opponent discards a card, then they may discard an additional card. If they don't, conjure a duplicate of random card from their library into your hand. Jeez. Alright. Well, I think I'm fine probably just pitching Lantern and Jawari here. Yeah, I don't want them to, like, hit a counterspell or something. I'll pitch the Lantern and the Jawari Disruption. Dispute still might hit something relevant, like one of their expensive Planeswalkers. Aw. Thanks for stopping by, okay? I appreciate it. Hope you have a good day at work. Alright, so there's Bonecrusher Giant. We do have the option of just countering that. That's not the worst. We can also Wandering Emperor. Yeah. My biggest fear is like a Planeswalker or something here. Or like a hasty threat. I think this is okay. I think we're going to let this go. We're just going to play the Wanderer here and plus.
I hope you're ready to lose.
Hit our land drop, which is great. I'm gonna wrap this board and make our samurai. So they have a window here. They can resolve something. Molten Impact. What on earth? 4 damage to creature. Planeswalker. I don't understand. All these new alchemy cards, I have not paid any attention to them at all. So that went about as well as it could possibly go for our opponent there, and still. Oh wow. Okay, that's outstanding. So we're just gonna cast this now. Try to hit our land drops. How bad could Wrath of God realistically be? I think we can probably do better. We already have 1 removal spell for whatever single target thing that they play. Let's just be a little greedy, I think. Yeah, I'm going to buy Yorion, I think, as well. They spent 3 removal spells last turn to remove our Wanderer and our creature. I feel like that's such a poor play to make if you have something big to do. Invoke Despair. Sacrifice a creature. Alright. That's fine. So, I feel like they don't actually make great use of their graveyard, so I'm more inclined to sack the Rest in Peace than I am the Omen of the Sea. Just untap. Yeah, okay, so they're like some weird Jund rock discard kind of thing. In that case, I think I'm happy to just flicker the Omen, get my value here. Start beating down with Yorion. Hall is, like, reasonable. It's not great. I do want the Emperor, though. Maybe there's some argument for, like, keeping the Emperor on top there and drawing the Hall to play around, like, some discard spell. Because they seem to be playing a bunch of them. Yeah, this card seems really good. I remember seeing this on Twitter when it was spoiled. I feel like this is probably not, like, the best shell for this card, but it does seem pretty strong. There's the ooze, sure. There's no creatures in the bin yet to eat off of it. I do feel like Yorion's probably about to die. It's also, of course, helpful that the opponent is flooding out. Okay, and now that we untap, I feel like we're in pretty good shape. Yeah, let's just start with Narset. Let's just draw 2 in Luris. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like black-green food seemed much better than this Jund shell. Yikes. Alright. I think we just hold back. Protect Narset. I want more cards. I'm not in, like, a giant hurry. More land for the opponent. We'd love to see that. And they just say go. Now I'm going to play the Wanderer here, I think. Resolves. Let's make a Samurai. Okay, Veto makes me feel extraordinarily safe. Let's just pump up Yorion, I think.
Show them how we greet with thoughtfulness before action.
Yeah, I'll take Omen. Any creatures in the bin? Not necessarily, but they could kill Yorion and then eat it with the ooze. We do have a counterspell for that. Oh, whatever. I'll just attack in the air. And I think I'm just going to slam the Omen here. Hit our land drop. I mean, like, yeah. All right, let's do that. I mean, they could be playing, like, Claim the Firstborn, I guess. All right. think you said, LK, that you had a new job. I saw that on Twitter. Where are you working at these days? If you don't mind me asking. If you're still around. Whoa. Alright. It's like another Tybalt in hand makes some sense. Okay, well, it doesn't make sense anymore. Okay, so up against, like, almost mono-black stuff. Like, it's just, like, Jund value. What do we want? The dispute seems pretty bad. We'll get rid of that. Excuse me, damn. I think I do want the Dovin's Vetoes. Lowland Hermit also, like, not terrible. It's food for their Scavenging Ooze. I feel like Portable Hole didn't make a whole lot of sense. It does hit Valky. It hits Scavenging Ooze. Yeah, I feel like the 4 Portable Holes are pretty bad. Like, they could bring in some creatures. It seems really unlikely that they're not playing Darcy in their red deck, right? But maybe they're not. Like, we did go through half their deck and not see it. So maybe, like, just Fateful Absence we keep in to deal with, like, Chandras and Sorens. Hey, Nerd Girl, how are you doing? Glad to see that you're up and about. I know that you were dealing with your PRK surgery. I don't know that I want, like, copies 3 and 4 of Rest in Peace, but, like, I just don't know enough about what the opponent's doing. I think I do want the Hermits, maybe. Baneslayer Angel plays around some of their removal, but not much. I honestly feel like this matchup is just really good for us. Like, full stop. Let's just run this back. Yeah, this hand's great if we draw land number 3, right? We have the Shark Typhoon to help us do it. Don't really want to mulligan against the Thoughtseize deck either. Yep. There goes Charm, which was actually, funnily enough, their only legal target there. Yeah, I mean, they draw their cards. But so do we. Okay. What's next turn look like for us if we just keep these 2 lands on top, which I think we should? Probably want to make a Shark Typhoon for 1 rather than for 0. But then we don't get to Memory Deluge unless we draw another untapped land. How much of a difference does a Shark Typhoon for 1 really make? Probably not much, honestly. Let's just put the Hall on top and play it next turn. Although it doesn't actually matter. We're going to draw both of these cards anyway. Tap land, go. Yeah. And also just play untapped land by Yorion, which is not the worst. Yeah, I mean, I feel like if we get to cast this Memory Deluge, then, like, not much bad can really happen to us. I do fear, like, Chandra next turn, though, so maybe we are supposed to just hold up Shark Typhoon to be able to poke her down a little bit. I don't know. If they don't have Chandra, I feel like we're just fine. Alright, we're going to draw 1 off this Shark Typhoon. Let's just hold up the Shark to poke down a Planeswalker. If they don't have a Planeswalker, I think we're okay. This is that crap again. Are we okay discarding 2? Yeah, I think I'm okay pitching this board wipe, honestly. It seems like they've probably boarded out a lot of their creatures. So let's just cycle the Shark first. This does play into Bloodchief's Thirst, which we saw last game. I am, I think, fine pitching both board wipes here, rather than giving them a crack at a counterspell. Again, not knowing enough about what the opponent's deck is doing here. We did draw our untap land, which is great. Not sure whether to flash in the Emperor or the Deluge on their end step, but we will be doing one of those two things. It's probably the Emperor, I think, just because it'll allow us to more safely play Teferi. Okay, well, against another discard spell, it's probably Deluge, right? Let's see what we can hit. Against the discard deck, I'm definitely a big fan of Deluge. I think I want the land as well. And now the question is, what do we pitch here? I really don't want to hit. I really don't want them to hit like Dovin's Veto or something here. So I think I am on board with pitching two things. The question is what? And probably it's just the Emperor and the Hall. And next turn we slam Hallowed Fountain, untap Teferi. Yeah. You know, if they have Thoughtseize here, then I guess you kind of got us. But we also have Memory Deluge to rebuild from that. Castle Vanter is a pretty good card. We're not going to attack with the Shark this turn. We'll hold it back to defend Teferi from some random hasty threat, Legion War Boss kind of thing. Shark Typhoon also pretty good. Okay, so now they need to deal with a Resolve Teferi. I guess that does it. So we're going to lose everything here. All three of these things. That's pretty rough. Okay. Yeah, it's a pretty good way to catch up. Did not expect that. I probably should have. I don't think there's a reason to cycle the Shark here. This Rest in Peace seems really useless, doesn't it? It's gonna shock in, I think, and cycle the Shark on end step. You had a split in one of your nails, but it's almost grown out enough for you to get rid of it. You know what? That's great. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled for you. That's awesome, Elka. A little gross. A little gross, but acceptable. Okay, so probably we just cycle the Shark here, pitch Rest in Peace, and whatever we draw. Keep the Memory Deluge in hand. Sure. I don't feel like Hermit, and I feel like Hermit is going to do less work than the Memory Deluge that we have in hand. Obviously, against like Discard Tribal, the card draw spells are king. Right on time. So the question now is, do we want to like play Omen or Memory Deluge? And I think the answer is Omen, because it lets us play a counterspell that we find. And I think we main phase it in case we draw land. Hermit is kind of whatever, I think. It does counter some stuff, not much, given how they flooded out. Yeah, I don't think I want to be greedy. I'll just take this land. Play it, and attack. And now do we buy Yorion, or do we play the Deluge? I think Yorion, we can probably buy and play in the same turn. So we'll say go here. I really want to make sure I get to cast this Memory Deluge at least once. Yorion in the Companion Zone is safe from, like, their shenanigans. Obviously, like, they're in Tybalt range here. Yeah, so we get to do this. Yeah. So we're going to have to discard both of these things now, unfortunately. But we did get all these lands off the top. It is not bad. So we didn't buy Yorion, which is a good thing. If we had bought Yorion, then we would have had to discard both of those cards. As it is, now we get to have... if we draw on tap land, then we get to play Yorion and cast him in the same turn, which is pretty sweet. Castle Vanter is also, like, low-key really good against the discard decks. Yeah, I don't see any reason to buy Yorion until the turn that we can cast him. And we're winning this race right now, so I'm just going to start attacking. Okay, I don't know if Hive changes things much. Okay. So if they attack with the Bone Crusher, they're dead, right? Great. That is an oops. They're dead on the crackback. That is the pause of someone who just noticed that the Hall of Storm Giants is tapped on the opponent's side. Yeah. I don't have my emotes. This is my first time playing on this computer in a while. I don't have my emotes anymore. I'll have to do that between matches. Yeah. Okay, cool. I think that gets us up to Diamond, which is kind of cool. Yeah, it does. Nice. So no danger of decaying from here. On to the next one. Lucci Ilias Vale on Gigantha. So that's probably Niv Mizzet, I would think. Against Niv, this hand kind of sucks. But it is possible that it's like some... Okay. Alright. Do we get 2 pips this time? We do. They fixed it. You can see during sideboarding, you still get the 2 pips now. Okay, sure. I didn't really want to play against Niv anyway. Okay. Hand is pretty good, honestly. We have answers to just about everything. On the play, Day of Judgment. Usually pretty good against the creature decks. On the draw, it's often too slow. But everything else is pretty flexible. Snow-covered plains Esper Sentinel, unfortunately. That's going to be tougher for us to deal with. So I think the plan here is going to be to play this land tapped and try to ambush the Sentinel with the Shark on a future turn. Okay, we have Sentinel Tribal over here. So they see that we don't buy Yorion, which is unfortunate. So if their spidey senses are tingling, they should expect a Shark here. Ranger Captain of Eos. Alright. So that probably fetches another Sentinel, I'm guessing? They can sack it on our upkeep to prevent them from wrathing the board. Yeah, another Sentinel, sure. Hopefully they attack. They do. So this means that we get to wrath that board without having to give them a card. It's a pretty big game. So they can play another Esper Sentinel. Hopefully, like, what happens here is we play land, wrath their board, they play another Sentinel, they see we played our first wrath, they commit to the board, we draw untapped land, we wrath, pay the Sentinel tax again, and kill the rest of their hand. I think in general I want this on blue almost all the time. Yeah. And we'll play Wrath of God. I guess, like, there's some chance that they could name... Like, they could have, like, some naming effect to take a card out of our hand, and they're more likely to name Wrath than Day of Judgment. Small thing. Inquisitor Captain. Alright. So we do get to Wrath that again. Okay, maybe we don't. The Thalia hit off the Inquisitor Captain, not gonna lie, that's pretty brutal. That is pretty rough. Are they playing any non-creature spells to worry about, like holding up Veto? I think the answer is no. We're just gonna buy Yorion here. Okay. So hopefully it's like, I don't know. Like nothing but Esper Sentinel makes sense here, right? Yep. so it's basically untap land or die. They could sack the captain on our upkeep. I think that's probably a little extreme at this point, but maybe. Looks like that's their plan. Okay. So we can just play, if we draw land, we can still play Naked Yorion. Nope. Okay. So probably the plan then is going to be to kill Thalia on their end step, pay the Sentinel tax, untap, play Wrath of God the following turn. We're going to say go, pitch this veto. That line is kind of okay. It's kind of okay. If we get to resolve this Day of Judgment. Okay. That does suck. Okay, so instead, we're just going to... We're going to pay X equals 2, and I'm going to pitch this Dovin's Veto. Kill Thalia. And use the remaining mana to pay the Sentinel tax, because this Dovin's Veto is useless in the matchup anyway. Jesus Christ. Okay. Well... They're going to draw some cards, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to draw 2. Could be worse. Alright. So hopefully... Oh, crap. Okay. So this is only a 3-3, right? Right. We can just slam Yorion. Try to block the Faceless Haven. Maybe that's what makes the most sense. Is there any... They could have the Wanderer in hand. If they have the Wanderer in hand, we play Teferi. We die. So maybe we just need to take a turn here. Like what else would they hold in hand and not just replay when they have the Giant Killer in play, right? I think I think the Wanderer is one of the only things that makes sense. Playing Yorion plays around that somewhat. Second Giant Killer. Okay. I guess that makes more sense. Especially when they knew the Yorion was face up. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Not great. So what do we need now? Not sure there are any outs left in the deck. I suppose we can Archmage's Charm the Giant Killer, which feels terrible. It does feel real bad. But I think it's kind of what we have to do, right? Like, they power up the Faceless Haven next turn. And we want to make sure that they don't get the opportunity to use the Giant Killer ability in response, to tap their other Giant Killer and then just kill us with Faceless Haven. So I think, in fact, this has to happen now. Unless we Portable Hole first. Okay. Then we can do the Archmage's Charm on their turn. We do have to do it before the Faceless Haven animates, I think. Oh, it can tap itself. Oh, damn it. I didn't realize that. I thought it was tap another creature. Alright, then we're just dead. Then I should have done it on my turn. Alright. Well, we get to take out the Rest in Pieces, which are pretty bad. We get to take out the Mystical Disputes, which are pretty bad. We get to take out the Dovin's Vetoes, which are pretty bad. In come the Baneslayer Angels. And we still need 3 more cards, which kind of sucks, honestly speaking. I feel like Nezahal is pretty poor as well. Maybe I just want like 3 Malevolent Hermits. At least they're creatures. They block. Their card advantage, kind of. We can play them from the graveyard. Soulguide Lantern's pretty bad too. Maybe we just bring in all 4 Malevolent Hermits. It does kind of stink. Because, like, it doesn't target anything. It doesn't counter anything, but it is just a 2-1 that gets in the way. Maybe trades with Esper Sentinel or something. Yeah, okay. Let's try this. It is the airball, I think. There is actually an airball on Twitch. Yikes, this is a crappy opening hand. But I'm waiting for her to let her account name lapse, and then I will steal that, and I will become the airball. Yeah, we can't keep this. This is better. We have interaction for their early creatures. Keep this, and probably the Shark Typhoon is what goes. It's either the Shark Typhoon or the Fateful Absence. But I think I like having the removal spell instead of the chump blocker. How are you doing, Astrals? If you are not familiar with Astrals, definitely go check him out. He is outstanding. Mostly Commander content, but we also have a bit of a rivalry going in our D-Gen tournaments. When he draws lands, he wins. And when he doesn't, I win. That's more or less how it goes. I think I just want to hit my land drops. We're going to play the Torii Runes tapped and say go. Sun Gold Sentinel, not bad. Deserted Beach, pretty good. He's just a 3-power creature. I fear Inquisitor Captain on a future turn, but like nothing we have right now deals with that. Paulo could be coming. Alright, I'm gonna Portable Hold this, and probably just Fateful Absence the Paulo. Maybe there was an argument to buy Yorion there. Yeah, there is Paulo. Like, they certainly take Wanderer here, right? No matter what. It's hard for me to imagine how these mono-white decks beat, like, any of the sacrifice decks. But there you have it. Yeah, we just say go here, right? And now, like, we're naked to Inquisitor Captain, but there was nothing we could have done about that. We just never drew any meaningful interaction for that. There it is. Thalia has pretty bad news for us. Oh crap! Thalia has terrible news for us. I shouldn't have let that resolve. Don't Thalia me, bro. Ooh. Okay, that one's fine. That's not quite Thalia. These aren't great either, honestly. Pretty sure I want Omen. And probably Deluge, right? We're probably just digging for a board wipe as hard as we can. Yeah, let's just buy Yorion here and say go. Maybe I was supposed to play the Omen there, see if I could find like a counterspell for another Inquisitor Captain. But if I Omen and find the board wipe that I want, and then they have Paulo, then I guess even then we can pay. Like, we can pay the 6 for the board wipe. We do have tools. Opponent tanking with the 5 cards in hand is probably not good news for us, I wouldn't think. Yeah, that's real bad. We do at least get to play Yorion through the captain next turn, so it's not as bad as it looks. But probably Esper Sentinel's coming here, I would think. Dauntless Bodyguard. Okay. Oh. Alright. Absence. Yeah, I think I want to find a board wipe. So they're going to swing for 7 here. I'm going to swing for 8 here. Okay, this is pretty rough. Now let's see, are they going to sack the Ranger? They are. And that's helpful for us. But it does suggest to me that they have another. Or that they knew this was coming off the top. Okay. Well. We have some options here, right? We can say go, and then on their turn cast the Wandering Emperor. Doesn't seem great. I think I want to get my value. And I don't think I want to flicker this portable hole and give them back. What did this name? This named Thalia's Lieutenant. Maybe I do. Maybe I do want to flicker the portable hole. It gives them back a 3-2. The problem is then they have Coven. But the Thalia's Lieutenant, like, just represents so much damage. Like, it represents growing all this stuff, making it attack through the Yorion. Yeah, I think we do have to give it back and take the Thalia's Lieutenant. They could also have Giant Killer in hand. Yeah. So Farewell... I really think that one of these last 2 cards is Ranger Captain. And if it is, then... not much we can do, realistically. What else am I digging for if not that? Board wipe. But we already have the board wipe. Yeah. Okay, can you kill me? It would not surprise me. Thalia's Lieutenant would be pretty terrible news for us. Giant Killer would be pretty terrible news for us. That's pretty bad, too. What order does this happen in? It exiles artifacts and then it exiles creatures. Can I get a Judge? If I Farewell, it exiles my portable hole in the clue. The creature returns to the battlefield, right? That's not a state-based action. And then Farewell will exile all the creatures. Judge? So how much are we taking here? 1, 4, 6, 10. And this avoids giving him another card. Or we can just block the most damage. If we draw untapped land, then we get to cast the Farewell without paying the tax anyway. I think I just want to keep as much of my life total as possible. Okay. So we can pay 2 life here to avoid them drawing a card off the Farewell. I think that's the way Farewell works. I think the portable hole leaves, and then the creature comes into play, and then the creatures get exiled. And I'm willing to try it out for science. Yeah, and I'm willing to pay 2 because I have the Shark Typhoon. Even if they do have Ranger Captain of Eos, we can cycle in a Shark to block later. So let's do this. Let's swing. Farewell. Exile artifacts, creatures. I guess graveyards. I'll pay. Yes. Okay, I was right. Alright, so Paulo will probably hit the Spellbinder here. But then we get to play Teferi plus and have Wanderer available? No, not quite. Awkward. So we probably have to Teferi minus on Paulo. Rest in peace. I don't know what to tell you, man. That's just a weird one. Yeah, if we Teferi minus on Paulo, what realistically is the worst that could happen? I'm not seeing it. I don't think there's anything hasty. Adeline is the closest thing, but not without a creature in play, yeah. Just Teferi minus on Paulo.
Let's take it back a step.
Even crack the Omen if we want. Probably should. Our entire hand is face up. There is the Adeline. Which is Vigilant, plays around the Wanderer. So let's see if we can dig up an answer to that. Ganjo. Ganjo does kill Adeline, but only once it attacks. How much does it cost? Costs 1 less for every legendary creature. Okay, so it's still going to cost 3. We can slam Shark Typhoon. Plus with Teferi, we'll only get 2 untapped land. We would need another land. I think we're taking both of these. But we're going to draw the Omen of the Sea first. See if we can find another answer. Doesn't quite do it. Take a Ganjo. Teferi plus.
You know what? I'm not done.
That's not bad. Okay. So we will have the means to either flash in the Emperor and block the Adeline, or to kill it with a Ganjo and play Memory Deluge. Both of those seem pretty good to me. You can also actually just realistically block with the Hall. Alright. Wow. If they give Adeline indestructible here, well, then we can just block with the Hall. It's not ideal. Yeah, I mean, I guess that resolves.
Gods bless us in our righteous cause.
Because we can't Ganjo in response, right? It needs to be attacking. And Thalia. Okay. Sure. What is it giving it? Oh, they don't have to choose yet? Yeah, sure, that resolves.
I believe in you, friend.
Indestructible indeed. Yep. Yeah. So we need to deal with Adeline somehow. We can either... Well, actually, we have no option, right? We have to flash in the Wanderer here. And chump with the Samurai.
You started this fight, but I'm going to end it.
Alright. And so now we need to find a board wipe and a way to deal with Gideon. Which I suppose we have. If we find the board wipe, then we can just make another samurai with the Wanderer. So what's the best way to find a board wipe? What digs the deepest? Omen will cost 3. We go down to 6. Memory Deluge digs 5 deep. We have 5 mana left over, which is exactly... Yes, it does. You're right, Sour Shot. Deluge digs based on cost. Athalia actually gets us an extra card deeper with the Memory Deluge here. So I think that is the way to go. So since we're not scrying with Omen, we're going to plus with Teferi here.
Keep up the pace.
No such luck. Does that help? Kind of. You can bounce Adeline. No, I think we're just dead, unfortunately. It doesn't quite do enough. That sucks. Suppose we could possibly play Narset, find, like, Portable Hole. And then we're still dead. Yeah, I think we're dead. Yeah, we can't even Narset find Portable Hole. We need to find Narset, find exactly, like, Fateful Absence. Could also Iganjo, I guess. Yeah, we need them to make a mistake. Alright, let's start with Narset, see what we find.
My prowess is unmatched. Keep an open
Nothing.
mind.
Great.
May your blade strike.
Yeah, so block, kill, take 4. Yeah, we don't even, like, represent Settled Wreckage here. Yeah, I'm not gonna wait for them to figure this out. We'll just screw. We'll just concede here. That sucks. Small misplay in, like, game 1, but honestly, I think game 2, they just had so much. Like, yeah. Okay, on to the next one. Okay. I think this hand is reasonable. We just need to draw another land and everything comes online. With 2 draw steps to find it. Sure. I don't love it. But, like, any land, especially blue, and we're in pretty good shape. Okay, another black-based discard deck. Probably Portable Hole, I'm guessing. Like, this is probably some sort of Arcanist deck. Just usually these black piles are. Narset will probably... Like, they're probably looking at the Narsets and thinking they want to get rid of it, but... Okay, well, what do I know? Omen's an excellent draw. Say go here. Black-based discard, white aggro. People are getting tired of control. Yeah, I mean, and it's fair, right? Like, in the set championship, there was there was an awful lot of control. It's the whole reason we're playing this deck to begin with. Shock, Blood Crypt, say go. So what do you think? Is this like another... Is this like the same pile we were up against before, and it's just like Bone Crusher Giant? Shock and no stick. I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm going to get rid of the Fateful Absence, probably. Portable Hole deals with a lot. I don't want to give them the card advantage in like a grindy matchup, and I also just want to hit my lands. So, I think this is fine. I guess it could be like... I don't know. This is game 1. I'm thinking like Noxious Grasp, Fry, but those are like sideboard cards. Alright, well, I'm just going to jam Narset. No stick there either. There is one now. Okay. Jeez, man, Narset has not performed for me today, I've got to say. I think actually every Narset has whiffed. Every time I've down-ticked a Narset. Etsugu consumes all. So that'll exile the graveyards, which I don't care about, and then it'll flip into a 3/3. That we will be able to deal with the Wandering Emperor, most likely. I don't really want to put Yorion in hand quite yet, because I fear a discard spell. Some sort of Planeswalker makes sense. Chandra, Sorin. We don't have an answer to that, but if we tap out, then they'll know that. Actually, honestly, Yorion is probably our best answer to a Planeswalker, right? Just big, beefy creature they might not be able to deal with. So we'll just do this. We'll play the tap land and buy Yorion. We can flicker this Narset, we can flicker this Omen. Life is okay. Now I'm just kind of confused. I mean, that's just like my general state of being. But what is this? It's like Rakdos Control? Haven't seen Kroxa yet. Obviously, you don't want Kroxa when you're exiling graveyards. I don't know, man. I am scared. Maybe I'm just supposed to flash in the Wanderer on end step, hold up a counterspell, and then on a future turn I get to actually flicker the Wanderer with the Yorion. That's really good. Alright. Since I'm scared, we'll hold up the Archmage's Charm. Okay. They do know about the Wanderer. That said, there's not all that much they can do about it. I suppose they send both tokens at Narset here, so that's fine. We can eat one of them with the Wanderer, but again, if you're a Planeswalker, I don't think eating one of these 1/1s is super important.
I was not prepared for this.
Nazis. Thoughtseize takes Yorion. Them having two Thoughtseizes is also, like, possible, but you'd think they would have played them on previous streets. Maybe they were just waiting for me to put Yorion in hand. But we had the option to play it last turn and chose not to. Like, this Thoughtseize probably came off the top. If we flash in the Emperor here, what do they take? They take Yorion. We play we play Narset. We don't have an answer to the 3/3 in that case. Alright. I don't want to counter the Thoughtseize because I want them to have to take the counterspell with Thoughtseize to be able to resolve like their Tibalt or something. And if they take the Yorion here, we still have the counterspell. This is okay. That's annoying. Yeah, okay, so now we need to find a way to deal with this. Start with Narset. Yeah, this is tough. What do we want? Deluge or another Emperor? It's probably Deluge. Let's make another Samurai, I think, and say go. Hold up the Charm. It does feel like if we find Farewell, then this game is over. And we get to go 4 deep with Narset, plus another 2 deep with Archmage's Charm. They're going to power up the Hive. Okay. Sure, let's see how they attack. Are we running 4 mana sweepers? Yes, we are running some copies of Wrath of God. There are 2 copies of Wrath of God and 1 copy of Day of Judgment, as well as 2 copies of Farewell. Attacking with the Hive here is actually pretty great news for us, right? We just get to eat that and try to find our board wipe. What's attacking Narset? 4 things are attacking Narset. Okay. Sure. So I can't imagine any situation where we're not killing the Hive here, but let's just crack the Omen here to try to find our board wipes. Don't want either of those. And we get to keep a 2/2 around for good measure. Okay. Yeah, we will as the French say, cast that. Yeah, exile graveyards, exile creatures, or anything else. I guess enchantments, why not? Now let's just hit the full Monty. Cool. Now let's see how they rebuild. They do have a window here to get around our Archmage's Charm. Nothing. Love it. Happy saying go here. Tybalt seems like a likely card, so I do kind of want to hold the Archmage's Charm for that. Teferone and Wanderer. Those are pretty good. We can Teferi, untap, hold up Charm. Sounds good to me. Looks like we got there. Nice. We sure did. Okay, so more like Rakdos, discardy, mid-rangey stuff. So we saw Unholy Heat. They probably run Darcy as well. Seasoned Pyromancer. They do get some mileage out of their graveyard. So I am kind of on board with Rest in Pieces. Dispute is bad. I don't know how hard I want to go against their graveyard, though, right? Like, I don't want to just, like, play card disadvantage that doesn't affect the board in the form of, like, Rest in Peace and whatever, and then just get run over by, like, Young Pyromancer or something that doesn't care. I don't think Baneslayer Angel's very good. Like, if we weren't running Yorion, then maybe you could argue that they're going to take out their creature removal, but they're going to keep in Unholy Heats at least, which will kill the Baneslayer Angel, so that's not great. I guess I do want the extra Rest in Peace. Excuse me. The Sharks don't seem outstanding. Maybe I do want, like... 3 vetoes is an awful lot. Let's just keep the Sharks in. Something like this. Yeah, truthfully, like, almost not boarding at all. We took out a Dispute and brought in a Rest in Peace. Sure. Okay, so Omen of the Sea and some early removal. Pretty reasonable opening hand. You do have to feel, especially when they keep 7, that we're going to lose some of these cards. We don't like mulliganing against the Thoughtseize deck as a general rule. Yeah, so probably take Absence, I would think. Well, it depends on their hand, right? If it's like Pyromancer or Arcanist in hand, then they take Absence. If it's not, they take Omen. Sure. Having drawn the 5th land, I think I'm okay holding the Triumph to cycle later. It's also a card that represents another card in our hand that is immune to Thoughtseize, Inquisition, that kind of stuff. Archmage's Charm. A little awkward. Would have liked to draw that probably a turn later. So there's Fable Passage. Obviously, like, they know about the Fateful Absence. They're not going to play into it. Go blank. Yeah. Fateful Absence deals with a Planeswalker that they almost surely have, so I want to keep that. Archmage's Charm does that in a similar way. I do want to discard a land. Do I want to discard 2? I think the answer is no. Like, against these discard decks, really what you want to be doing is top decking. And when you top deck, you want to be able to cast the spells that you find. So I think it's actually Fountain to Fairy here. That could definitely be conservative. Or a Disruption as well. Okay, so now we have these 2 tap lands, making me wish I had played the Triumph tapped on one. But Jory Disruption could nab a 4-mana Planeswalker. Or that. I think I'm more than happy to counter that with the Jory Disruption at this point. Veto's not bad. So it's kind of a heads they win, tails they lose. Heads we win, tails they lose kind of situation. Well, okay. So we don't fear a Planeswalker at this point, because A, they can't cast one, and B, if they do, we'll be able to Fateful Absence the following turn. I think we just cast the Archmage's Charm in response to draw 2. I don't want them getting card advantage off of it. If they want to play a creature spell, then they can just take the Archmage's Charm instead of the veto anyway. So the only way this gets punished is if they have a non-creature spell for 3. They do. I mean, if they have another go blank, then buying Yorion's a mistake here. But if it's like Thoughtseize, then I want to have as many cards in my hand as I can. Alright, Yorion's not like a super important card. Anyway, we don't have a board state to be able to deal with it. Yeah. Bin's Meat with Massacre. Okay. I don't think I want a Fateful Absence the Pyromancer. I think I just want to play the Yorion. Alright, well now I'm not going to get the opportunity. This does give them a card. Puts another Pyromancer in the graveyard. Alright. That's not bad for when they bring back the Pyromancers. I do, again, feel like it's going to get discarded, but we just kind of have to play the spells that come off the top at this point. Like, they have picked apart our hand pretty effectively. 2 Thoughtseizes, or like a Thoughtseize and and 2 Inquisitions and 2 Go Blanks. Unholy Heat deals with the Yorion pretty well, not gonna lie. That's pretty good. Let's draw 2, see what we can find. Yeah, that's not bad. Just cast that, get rid of these Pyromancers. And what do you got? Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, that's just gotta die, right? Like, that's attacking for at least 9 next turn. Alright. Let's hope they run out of gas here. I wasn't expecting that either. So Hive is going to get in. Jesus. Okay, I mean, our hand is actually relatively Thoughtseize-proof. You probably take the Charm. Because you can attack down the Narset. Proxa will take the Narset, but we'll go away to the rest in peace. We're just going to play out our land against the discard deck. Alright. They have a Hive of the Eye Tyrant and a Dream. And they may just get there. We could find Hall. That doesn't actually block the Hive, though. That's really good. Okay. This turn, they don't power up the Hive. Interesting. That's, I guess that's a play you can make. That's kind of suspicious. But we're going to cast the Emperor here.
Anyone who harms my people must contend with me.
Okay.
Keep watch for it. Back to wandering.
That's also pretty good. How much does this take? Let's attack. Yeah, so let's see. They power up the Hive. March will deal with that for just 1 mana. Holy shit. Yeah, the opponent is better at top decking than we are. That is for sure.
Looks like a fun new toy.
Probably just need to kill that token. Start attacking Liliana down. God, that feels awful. We find like Teferi. That would have been, it would have been good to know that was on top. Maybe I should have just untapped and and drawn, because then I would have liked to have the March in hand.
So that's how it is.
That is how it is.
Putrid, but effective.
Yep. And I think we are just dead. Yeah, I mean, okay. That's kind of embarrassing, honestly. But sure. Am I more interested in the like veto in this matchup? I mean, yeah, like everything they played. The problem is, though, that like veto is just a 1-for-1 trade, which is kind of like exactly what their deck wants to do. Ideally, we would have like card advantage against them, which like Hermit represents. Portable Hole felt really bad. Like I thought they would bring in like Darcy's and stuff, but they just didn't. So maybe we just don't want the Portable Holes. Bring in the Hermits. 4 Hermits is an awful lot. I don't know, maybe something like this. We have so many ways to deal with a Planeswalker. Yeah, I think I like this. Let's give this a try. Okay. I mean, Narset's really good against their strategy, although I'm sure she's about to get discarded. Shark Typhoon could be anything. It could even be a Shark Typhoon. Sure. Thoughtseize. Close. These decks, I have to say, are pretty frustrating to lose to. Yeah, I'm not buying Yorion next turn into discard spell. Let's just pump the brakes and go slow. I did keep a 5-lander. If we flood, that is kind of on me. Brutal. Okay. Looks like their hand is pretty weak, too. Alright. It's hard to imagine that Farewell getting cast, honestly. But if we get there, then we're pretty happy. Alright. I'm going to buy Yorion this turn. Threaten to play it next turn. If they have Thoughtseize, then they'll use it, but they'll use it on... They'll have to choose between using it on the Yorion or the Farewell. Kind of weird. They've decided they're okay making this trade. I think I want to keep the 1/1 around in case they play like a Planeswalker. It's like one of the only things our hand doesn't answer effectively right now. Alright. It does feel like Unholy Heat. They have land, sorcery. That's it. They made the same play pattern. They had untapped 2 lands and then said go on turn 2. Last time that meant Unholy Heat, but they didn't shock in this time. We're just gonna play Yorion and make them answer it. Either they answer it with a kill spell, in which case we're kind of happy, or they answer it by committing more to the board. Alright. So that gives them Delirium, and they can kill the Yorion with a second Unholy Heat. Oh, or not. Okay. Sure. I guess that works. I think, like, double Unholy Heat makes sense. Do they have Delirium? They have instant land sorcery. So I think I'll just trade the 1/1 instead of opening Yorion up to possible removal. It's one of the most spewing plays you've seen. You mean me? I spewed? Oh, I've got nothing. Well, we have Wraths, ladies and gentlemen. I guess Ottawa also deals with Planeswalkers. Them killing Pyromancer and bringing it back. I thought it was a cute play to enable Delirium, and then play Unholy Heat to kill the Yorion. Because they would have had Delirium with the creature in the bin. Alright. Okay. So Chandra can't kill Yorion, importantly.
You wanna go, tough guy? Yup. You're going
Thoughtseize
down.
is... Thoughtseize is tough. But we are like mono board wipes. I assume they take Farewell because it deals with Pyromancer super well. Anything we want to bounce here? I don't know. This Chandra is a serious problem. Just untap. Okay, Chandra's not a serious problem anymore.
It's over when I say it's over.
Alright, so this does give them a clue, opportunity to draw another Planeswalker, and so on. Bounce is a good answer to Inferno. That is true. Honestly, like, Inferno didn't even cross my mind. Omen isn't bad. Let's lead with that. See if we can find, like, a counterspell. I definitely should have tapped the planes. I think 2 is probably too many. We'll keep 1, though. So we can bounce Yorion here. That is not the worst. We get to replay it, keep our board state, flicker Omen, get it out of the way of a Wrath if they commit to the board. They know about this. Yeah, I kind of like it. They could have, like, another Thoughtseize or something, I guess. I guess it's possible they wanted to get it out of the way of, like, an Inferno. Yep.
Your course. Rise and shine.
Alright. I guess we're starting with Yorion. How do I feel about March? So, like, Liliana is hopefully going to be forced to minus to kill Yorion next turn. I don't think so. I think we have enough answers to their creatures. I don't know. Liliana might just get us. Okay. So now the Liliana minus is forced. They can attack first if they want. And then we need to find... Then we need to find... Oh no, we have Hall. They're dead. Never mind. Right? Right. Let's just do that. How about we just kill him? Is that allowed? Nice. Okay. Turns out I'm almost really bad at Magic. Almost, but not quite. I mean, honestly, I respect that. I respect the opponent's deck a lot. Like, these are cards that I truly love to play. I just hate playing against them. Alright, so if you're watching on YouTube, that's going to be it for this video. Honestly, the deck is a ton of fun to play. I feel like it was constructed for, like, a very specific metagame. The one that they expected at Worlds. The deck does do pretty well against auras, enchantments, runes, that kind of stuff. I think it does have some weaknesses against Phoenix, but with all the graveyard hate you're packing, you're probably still around even against that. On the ladder, obviously, like, you're up against some pretty random stuff, and we ran into issues that I was not expecting to run into just with the non-standard decks we were up against. But yeah, that's going to be it for this YouTube video. I will see you guys in the next one. Later.